Right, so tomorrow is going to be my first ever official athletics competition. It's currently the 11th today, so it's the day before. Going to be competing, so I'll be competing on the 12th. Going to be doing the 60 meters and I hope high jump as well. I did kind of like email them saying that it wasn't letting me kind of enter into it as well. So hopefully I can get that sorted out tomorrow. I mean, they did email me today saying I'm not going to be able to do it, but I might try and kind of just like sign on, you know, try and pull a quick one on them. But I'll see. I'm not really holding out on it, so I might go and do like a little high jump session after I've done the 60 meter competition, depending on how I'm feeling, of course. But yeah, so that's the plan. So I don't actually really feel like super nervous like right now. I feel kind of like relatively calm and like it's a normal day. Maybe like tomorrow that'll change, but I'm usually a pretty kind of calm person, honestly. Usually someone that's kind of very relaxed and kind of can focus in when I need to. So yeah, I've not really got like a goal in mind for it. I did run like a 100 during a speed endurance workout. So like it was 3 reps of 100. I did 11:89 as like a warm-up rep in my shoes. Rested 9 minutes, then did 11:16, and then rested another 9 minutes and did 11:23. So I think with more rest I could have went slightly faster, but I ended up hitting a 6:97 split from 0 to 60 meters over the course of that 11:1600. So I'm like, it would be nice to go sub 7. Just not quite sure if I'm kind of capable of that yet. It'll be like that will remain to be seen. But yeah, I just kind of want to go in and get some baseline times, really. I'm not like overly focused on like I want to run sub 7 at my first meet. Like I'm just going to kind of take it as it is, you know. I'll see how I kind of run. You know, it would be nice to make the final, but as I say, like I just kind of want to I just want to find out how fast I can actually run like a legit 60 instead of just kind of going off like training times. Like I run like a 6:97 training and then, well, how fast can I do it in a comp? Like I do usually get a really good adrenaline stimulus from just like in training, even when someone watches me, like someone's walking by with a dog or something, you know, I can get like a little bit of adrenaline from that sometimes. So I'm kind of curious to see how that works out as well. I did run some 60s last week and they were dreadful. Like I think it was like 7:35 on the free lap, which came out at 7:39 on just like regular kind of video timed from first hand movement, of course. So not quite sure like what tomorrow will hold for me. I didn't really feel great during that session last week. Like I really kind of like there's just a lot of things that kind of didn't go right before the session. Like I turned up to 3 separate tracks and they were all like, oh yeah, sorry, we're closed today. 3 separate indoor tracks, that is. And I finally got to this one and I had to kind of like faff about with like opening up this membership, paying like $4.50 or whatever. And I eventually got into the session and I just kind of wasn't really feeling it on the day. Like after kind of like all those kind of like rejections from those other tracks, because they had kind of like stuff on or like events that they were kind of prepping for. So that wasn't ideal, but it is what it is. But this week so far, like my strength numbers and my kind of like power numbers and other things have been up, which is usually a really good indicator of like good performance. So just have to wait and see though, as I say. Not really a goal in mind, we're just gonna go and just get a time down really. So like obviously I think like if I had to set a goal just like I guess less than 7.5 seconds, like I'm fairly confident that I could probably do that. Like I did a 7:39 last week in training with like no kind of adrenaline, no kind of like external kind of stimulus, and I still kind of ran that time. So even if we put a reaction time on that, still probably would come out in like a 7.5-ish, but confident I can probably do quicker than that. But as I say, we're just kind of going in to get a baseline time and just kind of have fun really. That's it. Right, so I didn't really do like a meet recap after the first ever 60 meter meet. So this is now Wednesday one. I just did some block work. You know, I've never done block work before. I have in the past, but just not really, like really not enough, honestly. But yeah, so that's what I did today. But you know, enough of that. We're gonna kind of go through the kind of meet recap now after the meet. You know, we've had a few days to kind of unload from it, and I can kind of give my thoughts on it, I guess. So first of all, straight off the bat, it was a super successful meet. For my first meet, I kind of executed the goals that I set, which were, you know, get a baseline time, run my own race, and you know, just stay kind of relaxed as well, execute what I've done in training in the past. So yeah, so it started, I woke up at about 7:30. I didn't have a great sleep. I think I had like, I want to say in the realm of like 3 to 5 hours at most. I was kind of like, I was just kind of like thinking about the race, thinking about kind of like, because like beforehand I hadn't really thought of like the warm-ups I was going to do, the like, I don't know, like the timings, like the starting, like all of that stuff. Like I'd not really thought about it. So then, you know, like during the night I was just kind of like thinking like what we want to do, we want to do this. And I was thinking about like the starts and like lining up with everyone beside me, and it was giving me like an adrenaline rush. My heart was like racing, just kind of sitting there in bed already. So I was kind of like already getting amped up at like 3 in the morning, you know, when I was supposed to be sleeping. But yeah, so I think I got like roughly like 3 to 5 hours sleep. Woke up, got some breakfast. So I had cornflakes, a banana, and then some milk. That's usually what I have. And I also had some water. So I had like 300 milliliters of milk and I think like 300 milliliters of water. So, you know, got like liquids in, you know, got to stay hydrated, especially before sprinting. Don't want the blood to be all kind of thick when you're kind of dehydrated. That's what happens. But yeah, anyway, so then I drove up. It was about a 45-minute drive. Got there just before 10. It was like 9:55, so I was there nice and early, ready to go. And then went up the stairs, and there was like a bunch of people. There's a massive queue to get to the sign-on station. It took me about like, you know, half an hour to maybe like 40 minutes possibly to get like actually signed on. Then I got my number. I went down into the warm-up area, got kind of a quick warm-up. I honestly, like, I didn't really know what warm-ups I was going to do, because like usually on my app, like my training app that I've got with THP Strength, they just kind of like program the warm-up. So I was like, right, I'm just going to kind of like cherry pick what I think would be good for today. So I just kind of picked like a bunch of kind of different skips, and then I did some like proper like A skip drills and stuff, some other ones, some fast legs, just kind of making sure that I'm, you know, ready to sprint fast. And then I did a few block starts as well. So I wasn't actually 100% sure if I had to use like a 4-point or if I could use a 3-point stance. So I asked someone and they said you've got to use like a 4-point stance. So then I'd done that in a few weeks leading up to training. I'd done kind of a few 15-meter sleds where I was kind of doing the 4-point stance. I was kind of ready, because I was like, I was thinking, I was like, I kind of want to compete, but I'm like not really 100% sure if it's a good idea. But I entered it anyway. So I was kind of mid-strength cycle when I entered into this, and we just kind of continued the cycle as it was. So it should be interesting to get times once I'm actually doing. So I get like a little 10% battery notification warning, so I better kind of get this wrapped up pretty quickly. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where I'm at once I do like more kind of sprint specific cycles with like max velocity working. So that should be interesting, but I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, anyway, I'm kind of like diverging from the topic of the discussion. So then after that, you know, we got kind of warmed up. We got called to the first heat, so I was in the second heat, but we all got kind of called at the same time. We sat on these benches, and they were having like a problem with like the start gun. So there was like a 15 to 20 minute wait where we were just kind of like sitting on the benches, and they told us to like get warmed up, but it's like, well, there wasn't really much space to warm up. So I did kind of a few jumps, a few kind of like skips and such, and then I just kind of sat back down and, you know, just tried to kind of focus in on kind of like visualizing like how I want the race to go. You know, first heat guy like false starts in it, but they gave him a warning, because they were like, well, you've had to kind of wait like 20 minutes in the blocks, like just kind of like standing there. So they like, I think they were kind of like a bit lenient with that, which was, I guess, nice of them. And then after that, got into my heat. So second heat comes around, you know, I'm kind of standing there. I'm like nervous, but I'm not like too nervous, because as I said, like, it's my first meet, so I shouldn't expect like, you know, the world in my first meet. I shouldn't expect to kind of run like crazy times in my first meet. So I was kind of like nervous, but at the same time like not too nervous. It was kind of like a weird feeling to describe. You know, I've been a lot more nervous when I used to do go-karting. Like I used to kind of wake up in the mornings before kind of a race day, and I would physically not be able to eat because of just like nerves, really. So I was able to like eat all my food in the morning, so like obviously I wasn't really too bad, so that was good. Massive tractor going by there. But yeah, so then second heat comes in. You know, I get left in the blocks a little bit at the start when the gun goes off, because I've honestly not really done much in the way of like reaction training in training, I guess. So I was left in the blocks a little bit with that. There was one guy that just kind of flew out ahead. He was absolutely vapid. He ended up winning the meet, and I was in kind of every race with him. Yeah, he ended up winning. He won in a time of 7 seconds. I came in second with 7:26, and I think third was like a 7:3ish or 7.4 maybe, like 7.4 low, 7.3 mid maybe, something like that. But yeah, so I was pretty happy with that considering I was like left in the blocks. I want to say my reaction time was like in the high 20s to maybe even like 0.3 or something. I'm honestly not sure though. Have to kind of crunch some numbers with that possibly. But yeah, that was the first heat then out of the way, so I'd qualified for the semi-finals. So again, you know, just trying to execute the race that I wanted to kind of execute. And I was like super happy with the result of, you know, getting into the semi-final and getting another chance to run faster. So then semi-final comes. Since the timings were kind of all messed up, like we were supposed to start at 11, they started at like 11:36 or something like that. So they were kind of like behind in times. So I was just kind of like unsure as to like when the semis were. There was no kind of like real word on it. There was no like, oh, it's 30 minutes till the men's 60-meter semi-finals. It was just kind of like, we were kind of like called for it all of a sudden. So I did like some block reaction work with my sister that you'll probably have seen in the video. But I did that like maybe 20 to 25 minutes after we actually had my like first heat. Did that just to kind of get used to it, and then I kind of like shut it down. I was like, right, I'll get like warmed up, you know, whenever, like maybe in like another hour or something when our next like semi-final is. So then that happens. I'm kind of like midway through. I'm like 5 minutes into warming up. I've done like half the warm up I want to do. I've not even worked on to doing like the A skip drills and like the other skip drills. And then all of a sudden, like, we're getting called for the semi, so I'm literally like, you know, like running to get like signed on for it. I was going to do like another little 30-meter start, but ended up not doing that because, well, I just didn't really have time to do it. But yeah, I think in hindsight it was probably good that I didn't do the 30-meter start, because I might have like ended up, you know, injuring myself if I did more sprint volume. But more on that later. So yeah, then semi-final comes round. I'm sitting next to, I'm in the blocks next to this other guy that ran a pretty fast time. And I think in my heat, to be fair, I was in a super fast, or in my semi-final, sorry, I was in a super fast semi-final. I had that guy that ran the 7 flat in my first heat, and then another guy that was like super quick, you know, next to me. So I finished in third in this one. I ran a 7:15, second was 7:11, and then first was 6:91. Guy was like absolutely rapid, as I say. So he was just like a way out the start again, and I was like, you know, just like running my own race. And I was like beside this dude that ran the 7:11. He just kind of got me at the line, and I was unsure as to whether I'd even qualified for the semi-final at this point, because I was like not sure. There was another guy that was quite nice. He was like, oh, I think you'll have qualified for the final. But I was just unsure at this point. I was like, right, we'll just kind of wait and see what the results say. You know, I was waiting for it. It took about like, I want to say it was like half an hour to 45 minutes until the results were published, and I kind of like found out that I was going to make it into the final, which was like super nice to see. So I ran a fastest loser time, which seeded me in lane 8 for the final. So then after that, I kind of was getting some warm-ups done, planning on doing another 30-meter start before the final, just as my kind of final warm-up. But then, you know, we got called to the final, like men's 60-meter finals. And I was like, really, I was like, right, I can quickly do this like 30, so I was like running to get my tripod and like setting up the 3-lap timer. And I kept like forgetting things, like I forgot my phone, so I ran back to grab that. And then I was like, right, I just don't have time for this, because I saw them like walking towards the track. So then I kind of just grabbed my stuff, quickly threw it by my training bag, and I like sprinted up to the like, because like everyone was like walking on the track at this point, walking to the blocks, and I was like last minute, so I kind of like sprinted up and was like, oh, this is my number, like 63. They signed me on for it. It's all good. I didn't miss it, thankfully, which is, you know, good, I guess. But yeah, managed to make it on time. You know, again, wasn't feeling super nervous before it. Like I was like a little bit nervous, but not like crazy nervous. But yeah, then walk up to my lane 8, you know, just standing there kind of like staring down the end of the track, just kind of focusing in on like, you know, executing my race, you know, exploding out the blocks, nice kind of like big strides when I'm up to max velocity. That was kind of the things that were running through my brain. You know, just don't kind of focus on what others are doing, just focus on running your race. That was my goal. And yeah, so get down into the start. You know, it's a good start, everyone gets away. I was leading, I think, for the first 10 meters. It's kind of hard to see. It was between me and the guy that ran the 6:91 in the semi-final that I was in before. So like it was between me and him to who was like leading. I think I was just leading at 10 meters, but I had a pretty good reaction at the blocks. I think it was roughly 0.18 to maybe slightly quicker or maybe slightly slower. It's kind of hard to tell because the video that I've got is only 30 frames per second, so I can't really like properly like analyze it like accurately. Like 60 FPS would be a lot more accurate, but unfortunately I've not got that because my sister, she was supposed to be filming it, but her phone maxed out on storage beforehand, so we didn't get it, and I was like gutted about that, but it is what it is. I managed to get some other angles from some other nice people, which was nice of them, I guess. But yeah, so run the race, you know, running well, get to the line, dip, hit the perfect dip at the line, managed to finish in 3rd place just. So me and the guy that beat me in the semi-final, we both ran a 7.05, but I must have been like, you know, a couple thousandths quicker. You can really see it was a super close race though from one of the angles. But yeah, I managed to get a really good dip and, you know, managed to finish in 3rd place in my first ever meet. Not only that, but it was also like a Scottish unis meet, so it was a pretty like competitive meet, I guess. Like you've got like all the kind of best people that are in like Scottish unis that are competing here, so that was super cool experience for my first meet to, you know, medal at it. So that was dope. So I'm looking forward to kind of doing more. And also with like a 7.05, I want to kind of do like another meet or two before the end of the year to try and break 7 seconds, because I'm only like 500ths off it. And technically speaking, like if I'd had the perfect reaction time, I worked out that probably would have ran like a 6.99, 6.98, somewhere in that kind of realm. So maybe, you know, before the end of the year we can kind of do that. I think if not, like in the 2022 indoor season, the 2023 indoor season, we'll definitely do it, because I think there'll be a meet like at the end of the year in December. I think they usually have like a Yuletide meet or something like that. But anyway, this is super long and no one's probably watched this far because it's really not that interesting, but yeah, it was a good meet, you know, really good experience, you know, just running my own race, staying relaxed, executing the meet that I wanted to execute. So just super happy with it, you know, just took it kind of step by step, like make it out the heat, make it out the semi, make it into the final, and yeah, managed to finish 3rd, so I was like super happy with that. But yeah, that's really about it. I mean, I guess like other than that, I was like, I think I said before in the video, like the training time I ran the week before was like a 7:39.60 compared to like this week, or compared to the meet a week later where I ran 6.88 with no reaction time. So, you know, like a massive improvement. I think a lot of it is just due to my endocrine system. Like I respond really well to like adrenaline. Like even in training, when people kind of like walk by with their dogs, like there's like the track here, and there's like a little walking path, like when people kind of walk by with their dogs, or when people are like walking onto the track sometimes to go and like, I don't know, play in the sandpit or something, you know, I'll get like a little adrenaline rush from that sometimes, and I can like feel that. So yeah, I think like that definitely helped me out like a ton, you know, so thank you to my dad, I guess, for giving me that sick endocrine system. But yeah, other than that, that's really about it. This video is going to be like super long, so I'm sorry if I've kept you guys, but I just wanted to kind of do like a kind of in-depth, I guess, like recap. But yeah, that's really about it. This phone's probably going to die in a second because it said it was at 10% not long ago. But yeah, I guess thank you for watching.